right, so hi, my name is Safiyyah Mack, and I am the program coordinator for the Criminal Justice Department here at Atlanta Tech. And on today's episode of the Alumni Takeover Edition, we will be talking to Miss Tekisha Shields, Criminal Justice alum.
Yay.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
I'm so excited to be here.
Yes.
To be in your presence. And it's an honor that you feel the need to be able to hear my voice.
Yes.
So I'm delighted.
Very important because you speak for a larger population here, which are our students. So I'm really excited to hear what you have to say. But first, let's just kind of give us a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I'm Tekisha Shields, Miss TK in the community. I am from Atlanta, Georgia peach native. Give me my peach.
ATL.
Yes, and I am a mother. I have 4 sons, and I first started off in the community as a prenatal family support worker, educating individuals on the importance of infant mortality. That means working with teen moms and working with, and I was a teen mom, so that's why it was very important to me about prenatal care, how to start. But as the tables turned and shifted, I have a 23-year-old at the time, 17-year-old son that was incarcerated, and he is still currently incarcerated, sentenced to a 20-year sentence.
Okay.
And he's been incarcerated for 8 years, and I did not understand the court system when I was going to the court, what it looks like, and it was during COVID. And so I have my youngest son was in his senior year, and they was like, Mom, if I cut on the screen, you got to cut on the screen too. So I was like, what? He was like, go to school. So I signed up for criminal justice so that he will get on his screen and be able to graduate, and I can be able to learn the laws for my other one. So it was like a win-win. I had one to graduate from high school, and I helped the other one with his judicial system.
That is awesome. So would you say that was like the driving factor to kind of push you into the criminal justice world?
Definitely. I've always been a nosy investigator. When I was a little girl, I looked at, what got me here, little movies like that. What made them want to do that? I was always inquisitive, but I always gave up. As an adult. So when I became pregnant, I signed up for school right after I graduated, and I never finished.
Okay.
And so when my son became incarcerated, it was like a push. My kids gave me that push and that drive. So, a woman not supposed to tell her age, but I'm 48.
Yeah.
And so to go back into school and get a degree, that means that no matter where you at in your life, if your purpose presents itself, then you go for it, and age has no barrier.
None, and we're proud of that 48.
Thank
Push
you.
through 48.
Yes.
So, okay. So you say that your kids were a major driving factor for you to kind of finish school or re-enroll in school.
Yes.
You could have gone anywhere. You could have gone to any other school. Why ATC?
First of all, I knew that it was convenient. ATC is in the community in which I service. So I was able to go to work. I was able to come to school, even though I took online classes. And when I saw that it was no longer a technical, they have 4-year, 2-year credits, I felt like it was, accessible for me.
Okay. I love that. Affordable, accessible in the community that you service. And you mentioned earlier that you were from here.
Yes.
And not too far from here. So, that sense of community probably, did that influence your decision as well?
Did.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was enrolled here where I did not finish. So I was like, it's not where you start, it's where you end. So I wanted to go back to where I started to make my completion there.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Okay, so thinking about your matriculation through the program, what are some of your highlights that you experienced while you kind of maneuvered through?
My highlights was actually having group learning, discussion, being able to hear your peers but not know who your peers are, give you advice or give you constructive criticism on what you're learning. So again, just being an older female, like I gotta go back to school, I gotta do math, I had to do a lot of things over, but it was just that process of being able, I felt like I had support within the community of discussions and, you know, having that time frame. Well, you gotta be finished and you have to have 2 people discussion, so, you know, to comment and you comment on that. So that was like a drive for me.
You mentioned support.
Yes.
How important was that for you? Because I mean, you say that, you know, you're older, you re-enrolled, you didn't finish, so you wanted to make that example. How important was support, or if you had a lack thereof, could you have finished?
I think so, because I was determined.
Okay.
So the determination and the support played a role together, and because they were online classes, I did not feel judged, because at first I'm like, oh my God, I'm enrolling in a school with people coming directly out of high school. But then when I saw some of my classmates, you know, they were younger, they were older, it was diverse, it was a mixture. So that support made me feel more confident, like I'm not the only person that needed help, because coming out of high school, you don't know where you're going, you're confused as well. So I felt like we brought connections to each other.
Ooh, complimented each other.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I love that.
Thank you.
Challenges.
Yes.
We all go through them in life.
Yes.
What, and not to get all personal or all up in your business,
That's
but whatever you feel comfortable with sharing, what are some of the challenges that you encountered, and how did you overcome these challenges?
Life challenges in school, life challenges
With, as it relates to, or how it impacted school?
definitely math. Like I was like so not the round off algebra, geometry type person. I'm gonna be honest, like I have my certificate now, but I called my son and was like, how do I do math? And he was like, girl, go the math way. It was like, you know, study. He became my tutor. You know, I would go to work and do some of my assignments at work and ask some of my team at work. So that was, I think math was my challenge. One of my other challenges was having to write like 500-page, you know, essays and different things of that nature, not knowing that it would be articulated in our new era of learning and different things of those. So I would say my challenges was self-challenges that I felt like I didn't know, but again, I'm like the type of person that's not afraid to ask for help. If I don't understand it, I don't know, I'm going to ask. So even though it was challenging, and I would come up to the campus, so it was like different things. It was always support on the campus and calling. So even though I had challenges, but I was able to maneuver through those challenges.
Yes. Okay. Now, you graduated with what credential did you earn?
My criminal justice, I think is fundamental. I think I got Homeland Security. Like I was like about 4 different
So the Homeland Security, the fundamentals, but the longest, you were in the longer program, which was the associate's degree. So you obtained your associate's degree.
I did, yes.
Okay, and tell me what you're doing now. What are you up to now, post-graduation? Well, when did you come out, and what have you been doing since?
I want to say 2023 is when I graduated. And what I'm doing now is basically what I was doing while I was in school. I have an organization, Mothers Against Gang Violence. And Mothers Against Gang Violence work with families in the community who have loved ones that are impacted by the judicial system, whether it's juvenile, whether it's prison. And we hear a lot of individuals that talk about that there were no resources in the community. I wanted to be the PTA mom of prisons, because what we do is we have a lot of young kids that are sentenced as an adults, but they are not adults. And so we look for reentry resources. And so there are high schools and prisons. Parents don't know that. So that's what Mothers Against Gang Violence, they teach them that you don't have to stop parenting because your child is incarcerated. But what you do is you find out what those services, and my education within my criminal justice degree taught me how to advocate in a non-judgmental way. It's like, you can't tell me anything as a parent because I'm in the same shoes that you're in, but I was able to go get educated and get more clear understanding of adjudicatory, when we go to court, when we got to come back to court, getting therapy and getting help. So yeah, that's what I do now.
I love that. Now, you just had inside scoop. You just had a ribbon cutting ceremony recently that I attended in the community because they gave you your own building to work with families and youth in the community and really interrupt and disrupt these negative risk factors that we know plague our communities a lot of the time.
Yes.
And so tell me what that means to you to have a building to provide services to that target, to those demographics.
It means so much to me because, again, it's something I dreamed of, and to have a community a community center in the community in which I grew up in is very more important to me. I started off in the West End Branch Library, Roselle Fan Recreation Center as we grew. And to have a community center where I can put my full 100% in families who've been impacted by gun and gang violence and incarceration. And when I say gun and gang, because as we know, it's a lot of violence that has been impacting our community. So a lot of families that come through that door, the kids that I birthed through the prenatal infant mortality are some of the same kids that I'm burying. And so that is like traumatizing. So that's why it makes it more comfortable for a parent to come through a community center door or somebody that was there with me from the beginning than going through a courtroom or a funeral home door saying, what do I do next? So to have that community center, I'm so honored. It's just the beginning of something that God has in store. And I'm glad I have the opportunity to share it with everyone.
Yes. I want to commend you on the work that you've been doing because you've been doing this work.
Yes.
Okay. I feel like ATC with the criminal justice program was kind of like, helped you to understand certain things to complement the work that you're already doing, and we know that education is one of those things to where, especially in this field, the more you know and understand the trends and what's going to work to really help introduce these protective factors, the things that you're doing in the community, and disrupting these risk factors. And, that's all ATC is about, community developing and really pouring into the people in order for them to be able to give back. And it's a revolving door. Everything complements the next thing. And when you talk about criminal justice and when you really talk about reducing recidivism, when you talk about equitable resources, when you talk about supervision, mentoring, when you talk about meeting the needs of the people, that's criminal justice.
It is.
Anything that can help disrupt and help with preventing an individual with entering the justice system formally. Anything that's going to prevent an individual or intervene if that's already happening. There's a lot of things when we talk about criminal justice and these influences that impact the justice system, and you're out here boots on the ground doing the work. Kudos to you, Miss Shields. You are doing the thing out here. Not only are you walking the walk, but not only are you talking the talk, you're actually walking the walk and meeting a need. And I tell the students in our program all the time, you think about criminal justice, you think about law enforcement, of course, you may think about corrections in the courts, but it's so much more than that.
It is.
It's diversion, it's prevention, it's intervention, it's understanding mental health and trauma-informed care and case management and education and linking people to resources that are really going to help them
Right.
not enter the justice system.
Correct.
You know, and technical education is at the forefront of that conversation.
Yes.
Because when you have individuals re-entering from the society from prison, prisons are filled with vocational programs.
They are.
You know, and so how does that, how do we cultivate that and leverage that in order for them to utilize those skills to move on, so they can really give back to the community, restorative justice. So yes, okay.
Can I answer
yes,
what
yes,
you
go
were
ahead,
saying?
go ahead.
I
Yes.
would like to thank you for sharing that prison has a lot of resources. Like just last month, my son graduated with his degree in business inside prison, and I was able to go. So again, it's advocacy.
Yes.
Like you stated, there are counselors inside the prisons, and being able to teach them not to just go to the counselor because somebody has a shank, but go to the counselor to say, I have 12 PIC points, and if anybody knows what PIC points is, completions of programming that they have in prison where it can take time off of their sentencing. And so being able to teach my son how to advocate. Do you have any DRs? Disciplinary actions. Okay, he got his high school diploma. Those are PIC points. He was able to get his degree. Ask them what do they have in there, and then you hold those counselors accountable for what they have and sign up. The list is long, and you have to be accepted, but it's worth it.
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure. You're talking about changing the trajectory of your life. You're talking about, changing the trajectory of your family's lives, your kids, your kids' kids. You're talking about, real life things like owning property, owning assets, things that you may not have seen to be realistic, or attainable.
Right.
But that's what education, specifically technical education, can do, because it's accessible.
It is.
It's affordable. You're able to come in a short amount of time to make opportunities for yourself, to create additional opportunities with something that you may already be interested in doing, something that you already like doing.
Something just had you distracted.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and with you, it was criminal justice, not because, it was because of, circumstances led you down this path, and you wanted to understand a little better how you can work from within to help disrupt negative things that can potentially influence people to be in gangs, to delinquency and criminal behavior. So that is all working in the criminal justice system as well. So yes, I love that. And congratulations again.
Thank you.
Now, what advice would you give younger people, or not even younger people, because we have students of all kind of demographics, but what advice would you give incoming students that have been here before, have never been here? What would you say to them to help them persevere and get through the program?
I would say have confidence in what you were enrolled in. That's why they say you have how could I say it? You may want to come in at criminal justice, and you may go out as a physical therapist. You know what I'm saying? A major and a minor. You know what I'm saying? I always have a plan A and plan B, because sometimes it may get hard. Do not give up. Just understand, if the first plan did not work, make sure that you are ready for what's next. Have that connection and communicate with your advisors, your teachers, and have that student accountability partner. Even though, again, like I said, my class was online, so I didn't see a lot of my classmates, but make sure that you connect with someone that gives you that encouragement. And what I liked about it was I was able to select classes that was around my work schedule, around my timing. So don't put anything on you that is going to be too stressful. Put things on you that's going to give you the confidence to want to complete it.
I love it. Now, Miss Shields, you have your program, but we also, because this is a community and we really, you know, rely on each other, you know, especially when students may not have traditional work hours or may have traditional work hours. In our program, you have to complete an internship. Okay, so our internship course for the associate's degree and the diploma program is like you have to complete that. And so, you know, we've been lucky enough because Miss Shields has her own organization, Mothers Against Gang Violence. She's been able to accept some of our students to intern with her, you know, because like I said, they may have to work during the day and maybe the hours are non-traditional and they may have to kind of, because you have to complete 135 hours for the associate's degree program. And, you know, we've had students come to you and they have had the best experiences and they've ranted and raved about your program. And I would know they have to write a 10-page paper explaining how they, you know, what their experience was. And then I had to get feedback from her to let me know, you know, with their student evaluation, how they performed throughout their internship. Now, tell me about that experience with you being able to, you know, give back to us and have students with you.
It was so amazing because, again, it gave me confidence in working and doing things that I didn't know. So it was like, I've graduated, but I'm still learning. And I worked with 4 of the most amazing interns that you have recommended. And they never was like, oh, I can't come back. They're like, what's next? What's next? What's next? The one that was most amazing is we had a student, Miss Emanuela. And Emanuela is from Brazil. And we know that gun violence is a global disease, you know, that's going on in our community. But nobody ever thinks how far out it can go. And so when we would do our family engagement classes, we do them on Mondays at 6 p.m. Emanuela will translate all of our wording into Portuguese. And so we were able to reach a different dynamic of audience in gun violence and the factor of how it was plaguing her community as well, and not knowing that we all had a lot of the same, you know, trauma that we were working with. And so we were able to take it out and go to Emanuela's church and go to her community and allow her to educate the families on gangs, on fentanyl, on communication. So it was just so amazing that it was diverse. It was diversified from a student that was like, oh my God, I want to tell my community, tell it. You know, so not only are we saving Black and brown people, you know what I'm saying, we were able to take it globally due to a connection that was made. And Emanuela graduated this year in 2024.
She did.
So proud of her.
So proud of her. I ran into her at your ribbon cutting ceremony, and she, you know, even after her she's graduated, she could be done, but she still is coming. She still wants to engage and participate and really keep her network open with you, and really keep continuing to do the work in the community. I spoke to someone who works with you, Miss, starts with a P.
Miss Paulette,
one
of the mothers.
Miss Paulette. When I spoke to her at your ribbon cutting ceremony, she said that she also has still been in contact with one of the interns that graduated 2 years ago. And she's still, you know, in contact with her. Hey, what you doing? How's it going? You know, and that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. It's like a waterfall. It's going to always rejuvenate itself.
Correct.
And so that's what I love about this space, about this college, you know, being community centered and really making a difference where differences need to be made.
It is.
You know, and you are doing it. And I just want to say that again. And so as we come to the end of another episode, We want to thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.
And spending your valuable time with us for the Alumni Takeover Edition.
Yes.
We hope that you found this episode informative, thought-provoking, and also a little entertaining. If you enjoyed what you heard, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast so you can be notified about future episodes. And if you have any feedback or suggestions for topics, or you would like us to cover, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We love hearing from our listeners and are always looking for ways to improve and grow. Until next time, continue to stay strong so that you can finish strong.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Go and roll.